Good day, everyone. Can I get a response? All right. So I believe everyone can hear me now. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Precious Aniakwina, and from Corporate Communications and Sambus Geospatial. In Sambus Geospatial Limited. We're here today to talk about a global issue, refugee crisis. And the single most important aspect of this topic that we want to focus on today is understanding GIS application in humanitarian crisis. I'm here today with me, my colleague at Sambus Geospatial, Olumide Ogunbuemi from the Research and Development, Isaac Iyoluwa from Technical and Training Services, Benedict Obinamberede from Technical Services. I will also be welcoming a guest speaker with us, Dr. Mukhtar, who is a researcher from the National University, who is a researcher from the National University of Malaysia, and currently at Bayero University in Kano, giving us a special presentation on humanitarian crisis and application of GIS in humanitarian activities. So before I go on, I'm sure everyone can see my slide. Okay, so very soon I'll be inviting our speakers to make a presentation to us as mentioned earlier. Okay, so I've already mentioned that we're having a guest presenter, Dr. Sadiq, and I'm sure Dr. Sadiq is already in the room. We'll be taking questions at the end of our presentations today. But if you have any questions, you can put it on the chat box. At the end of the presentation, we'll take your question. And if you want to also unmute yourself and ask your questions, you can do that. But other than this, I will encourage us to stay muted. Let all mics be muted so that we can have a free flow in our event today. So I'm going to go ahead and have Olumide. So with that going on, I will turn it over to Olumide to go ahead with his presentation. Olumide, yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Olumide. I'm the Research and Development for Sambus Geospatial Nigeria Limited. So I'll be discussing about Refugee Day, some terminologies, and the application areas that we need to understand. So I'll be sharing my slide. So as we all know, today is the Refugee Day. So at Sambus, we are celebrating this day by explaining to the world how we can make use of GIS for this humanitarian crisis. So the theme for today is application of GIS to humanitarian crisis. So we'll be having some focus for today. We which is we'll introduce what this day is all about. We'll talk about the historical background of today, the Refugee Day. We'll talk about the humanitarian crisis. They are into 5 categories. We'll talk about it. Then we'll talk about these application areas, possible areas that we can make use of GIS in refugee operations. So, like I said, introducing this day, over time, over the years, there has been disasters in different parts of the world. And then this can be natural and it can also be man-made disasters. These disasters has caused a lot of displacement. It has caused a lot of people being displaced from their homes, being displaced from their property, and it has affected even lives, not just property, but lives too. So we can actually make use of GIS tools to better present refugee issues or challenges. And at the same time, this is a way in which stakeholders can make use of this GIS has been used for the refugee issues. They can make use of this information to better make decisions that will help the refugee operations. So I will also talk about the historical background of this day. The first time it was celebrated June 20th. Today is June 20th. June 20th, 2001, that was the first time it was celebrated. So now we are celebrating it 2022 again, since 2001. So this is another celebration for today. It is observed to draw attention to the issues that refugees are facing, the displaced people, the issues they are facing, and to make sure that we look at this, the stakeholders look at these issues and make sure that they present laws and create an avenue that these refugees can have a better landing in the country they are being taken into. So also I will talk about these categories. Humanitarian crisis are into categories. Yes, today is a refugee day, but there are also other 4 areas that is related to refugees. In total, we have 5 categories. So these 5 work hand in hand, but there's a difference between the 5 of them. So generally, these are displaced people around the world, displaced people in Nigeria, displaced people in the West Africa, displaced people in Africa, displaced people in the southern part of the world, displaced people all over the world and in different continents and over 190 countries in the world. So first of all, what do we mean by the terminology refugee? These are displaced people. These are forced people. They are being forced to leave the country in which they reside. This can be due to disasters. It can be flooding. It can be due to war. So these are reasons why people can be displaced from a particular place. For example, the Ukraine crisis, the Ukrainians are displaced to the neighboring countries. So this is an example of what is existing at the moment. And there are other crises, several crises over time. So crises over time, we have the one of the South Sudanese, we have the one in Kenya. Several of these refugee activities are happening all over the world. Even in Nigeria, we've seen people that has been forced to relocate to Niger or Cameroon as a refugee. So the second category is asylum seekers. These are a category of people that left their own countries. They left their country due to war. They are trying to look for asylum in another country. These are people that left their country due to war and some political reasons, and they are looking for a shield in the country in which they are displaced or they find themselves in. Another one is stateless persons. These are persons that are not considered as nationals of any country or any state, which is under the law. Under the law, they are not considered as a national of that country in which they belong. So they are stateless. They are stateless. They are not part of the state or they are not part of the country. So they are stateless person in the country in which they now reside. Then the other category, the fourth category, is the IDPs. This is very common. We have the example in Nigeria, the Doremi camp in Nigeria, in Abuja, the FCT. We have other camps too, even in Nigeria, in other parts of the continent and of the world. So these are displaced people. They are internally displaced. The word is internally. So they are displaced within the country and they still reside within the country. An example of the Doremi camp, which is in Abuja, we can see these people are displaced from Borno State and they are relocated to FCT. That's been displaced in the country they reside, which is Nigeria, and still they are being relocated to another place within Nigeria. That make it internally. Then we have the last category, which is returnees. These are people, they are former refugees who are returning back to their towns, who are returning back to their countries after a long time of exile. They are returning back to their origin. I want to also talk about these areas, application areas, looking at the refugee camps, the way we can apply GIS in the refugee camps. So there has been growing need for data services and maps in the day-to-day camp running. And also there's a need for information to manage and to give information within the camps, the refugee camps, to be able to know what is going on, to create awareness, and to find services that can be available for them. Maybe there are not enough services. They can get much more services for them so that they can cover the populace of those that are in the refugee camps. So also with this GIS application needs, there's this need of gathering data of the stories of their challenges in the camp. So this can be these areas talking about providing data services, gathering information due to what they are facing, their challenges, their issues, and also gathering their experience in the form of story maps. These are areas that can be talked about in a refugee camp, in a specific refugee camp. I've been able to talk about these terminologies from with the 5 different humanitarian categories. And also I've been able to talk about the specific areas we can make use of these applications. Just seeing this, the areas we can make use of this application in the refugee camps, specific camps all over the world. These are areas that we can actually look at. So I'll be going with this from Nadia Ashimi. It says that refugees didn't just escape a place, they had to escape 1,000 memories until they had put enough time and distance between them and their misery to wake to a better day. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you very much, Olumide. I think
You're welcome.
Yes, it's good. I like the way you gave it a very good background and a good understanding of the GIS application area, because the essence of what we're doing is to understand the maximum impact of GIS and ensure that we use the GIS tools and systems in the most efficient way that there can be. So with this background, I want to welcome Benedict Obina to give us a practical demonstration how this can be done. Do we have Obina in the room?
Hi. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Obina.
My name is Benedict from Sambus Geospatial Nigeria Limited. So today we want to look at a little demonstration of how GIS can be used, to solve some humanitarian problems that we face. So first, you want to look at, your data structure. For example, you want to collect data. Are you mapping facilities of where the refugees are staying, or are you mapping the data about them? So you have to actually understand the type of data you want to capture and what type of analysis you want to do after that. So the product from Esri is called the ArcGIS Survey 1 to 3. So I'll be demonstrating how you can, customize your forms to be able to collect locational data, to help you make informed decisions and to help you, solve problems. So permit me to share my screen right now. So I'm doing that right now.
Okay, while we're waiting for your slide, please let me quickly announce that this meeting is being recorded. Please take note that this meeting is being recorded. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Can everyone see my screen right now?
Yes,
okay.
I can see your screen.
Okay, so I want to look at focus on how to use this Survey 1, 2, 3 to actually customize a data collection process for the refugee people or the camps which they are in. So you want to actually understand, are you trying to map the facilities that are in spread across, or are you trying to map the population that is actually in a particular facility? So we just look into trying to map, the population that are actually in a particular facility or different facilities. You want to have that in your database. So all you have to do is just visit the survey123 ArcGIS, survey123.arcgis.com/surveys. In this you have different. In this, you have the opportunity to create a new survey. So we'll be using the web form. Here you have a blank survey, a template survey, and a survey 123 connect. So you can actually use different templates which are customized by Esri themselves to actually, see how they have actually customized their own survey and use it as a reference. Or you can actually, start from scratch to actually get started with a new blank survey, or you can actually use the survey 123 connect. This allows you to create very complex forms which you can do some calculations and some configurations on there. But we'll be looking at creating a simple form right now. I want to create a survey 123 simple form for data collection of population in one of the refugee camps. So all you have to do is get started with creating that survey. This opens up a platform where you can be able to drag and drop questions that you want to actually ask, or you want your field workers to be able to collect this data and update this information for you. So form. So I want to look at collecting data that has to do with the age of the people who are in. We want to actually map the population. So you want to look at collecting the age. You want to look at the gender. You want to look at the location, which will be the camp name. You want to look at the exact location on the map where they are. So you could actually create a cluster map or any other type of map that you want to do later on. You want to actually know if they receive aid in the past year. You want to know what needs they require. You want to actually also know the type of aid they collected and who actually gave those aid to them. You want to have this information in your own database, and you want to actually know what are the gaps, why if they have complaints or whatever. So you want to see how we can actually customize this form easily using the survey. 1, 2, 3. So here you have the survey 1, 2, 3 platform. Here you have the overview, the design, the collaborate, the analyze. So this gives you a landing page where you can customize your form, which users can or field workers can actually use to collect data. If you want to deploy them, they will have this mobile data collection on their maybe GPS devices, mobile phone, Android or iOS devices. So once you look at first, at this top here, you have the option to name your survey. So you want to give it a name, you want to see the field. So you can also add a summary if you want to add a summary of your why you are collecting this data and what type of data you're collecting. So you want to add an header to it also. So here you just click on the header. On this right pane, you have the option to actually name it. So you want to call it so yeah, if you want to also add a short description of the form, which your field workers would read to be able to give them more information on the type of data they need to collect. So you have that right here to give it. Yeah, you can actually give them more information on this description. So if you want to actually add the questions that you want to add to the data, or you want to add some attribute field that you want to actually collect. So we have different options here. You have the single text, you have the multi-line text. The single text gives you just a single, just as the name describes it, is a single text line. The multi-line gives you options to add description to your data collection process. You have the single choice in case you don't want your readers to just fill in something manually. You want to collect a specific type of data or a specific type of attribute data, you can use the single choice. And also you have the drop down also in case you want them, the field workers, to utilize the drop down. You also have the multi-choice, the rating, and so on and so forth. So let's just look into customizing a few data here. So here we have the single text. We want to actually capture the age of the persons we are mapping. If you also have the opportunity to get their names, also you could also get that in your database if that is also required. So let's say we want to actually know the exact people who are there, their names. So we just click on names on the name. You just give the label a name, and if you want to add a description, you can also add that. And also, if you check the validation process, you want to actually make this a required question. So you don't want your field workers to skip this because it is very important for your analysis. You can also make it a required question, and asterisks observe. So also we want to add the age of the individual who have been displaced. So we want to, you have the option to add number here. So you could just drag the number to this pane. So we want to add age of this displaced person. If this is also a required question, you can also validate that to make it a required question. Next, you want to map what facility is this person located at, what camp or what facility, is it a school facility, or the name of the displaced camp. So you could also have that on single text. Also, you could just add that here. You just drag and drop. Now you want to also map the location of the camp. So you want to have that. One of the advantage of the sub 1 to 3 is it gives you the advantage to add the location attributes based on the device the user is using. So if it's user, you know that it's to give you an accuracy of about 3-meter radius. So you know how you want to map. So here you have the map, include a map so that your field worker can actually get the exact location where you are collecting that data from. So you click on the map here. So this you could camp. So you have drawing tools also. You want, since you are just interested on the points feature, you can just leave it as a point. But if you are interested in mapping other features like the area of the facility and so on and so forth, you could use area. And also you have the opportunity to change the base map that you want to use, or you want to actually just make the users go to the exact position you want them to. For example, call him back because I think he handed him back. So this is the default location that shows to the field worker who is actually trying to map that area. So you want to also look at some other questions here. Here you want to ask more questions like who provided aid? Who provided the aid you and your household received? So you want to also know the organization that provided aid to them also. So we could just add that. So we'll use the drop-down section in this because maybe you have a list of organizations who are responsible for giving out aid. You don't want your field worker to actually put down manually. So you have that on the drop down here. So here we just click this. So also here you could actually have if you want to describe the question more further, you could give more hints. And here you have the choice. So you want them to choose from the organizations you have already that are set out to actually give aid to these displaced persons. So here we have the local authorities, the NGO, the foreign NGO, the UN, and so on and so forth. So we just copy this. So here where you have the choices, you could actually edit the choices manually if you want to, but I'll just use the batch edit to practically fill them up. So here we have all the agencies. Yeah, and also if maybe other organizations, because I know a lot of people who do the CSR companies, some private companies actually give aids also. So you want to actually allow the option of others so they could actually impute organizations who are not part of your options. So, but for the sake of time, we will just stop here. You could add any more questions that you actually want to add. You could add more complex questions. If there are rules to set, you could also set them also. So this is just a way for you to actually collect data to help the displaced persons or the displaced organizations that you know. So if you want to preview your phone, you could just save. Then you can have a preview of how your form looks like. By clicking on the preview here, you want to see how your form looks like based on the laptop. You want to see how it looks on a mobile device. You also want to see how it looks on a tablet. So this is what the field worker used to actually collect data from the field. It gives you the option to actually collect data from environments where there are no internet access. So it actually saves that on the mobile device, and when the field worker has access to internet, it automatically syncs to the database. So this is just a way of helping to collect data using the every platform, which is the Survey 123 platform also. So also we want to look at mapping some of these locations. For example, you already have the location of IDP camps. You want to map them, edit them, and also collect extra data for or you want to also be able to update this data that you have, or use the data as a reference. So you could actually get the data, be it in a CSV format. You have the addresses of the IDP camps, or you have the coordinates, latitude and longitude. You could actually bring it to the ArcGIS platform, which you have on here. You could use them to make analysis if you want to actually make analysis with them. And you could also add more data from the Every Living Atlas. You want to also know the extra type of data that are available to you on the Living Atlas. You could actually use that. Also, here you have other sources to help you to enrich your data for more analysis. So, for example, you have gotten the locations of the IDP camp, you have successfully mapped them. You want to share it to maybe your organization to have access to it via the web platform, or you want to maybe create a dashboard out of it. You could actually easily share, the data you have gotten as a web map. But after sharing it as a web map, it is available to your organization ArcGIS Online to actually do more analysis or create tailored apps for it. So here you could, here we have the map which has been shared online. You could actually do, if you want to also add more data to it, you could add more data from either the Living Atlas or CSV or KML or GeoJSON files. You could actually add more data that you need. For example, you want to know locations of settlements around, or you want to know you want to add locations of where events has occurred, maybe clashes or bomb blasts. You want to know the risk of all these IDP camps. You want to know the radius which they are at risk at. You could actually overlay those data there and do your visualization and your analysis. Also, if you want to create tailored apps, for example, you already have your data, you want to create tailored apps. For example, you want to create a locational app. You want to be able to create a locational app which users can use to actually navigate to maybe the nearest hospitals or to the nearest IDP camps to give aid. You could write on your content here. If you have your map, you could actually create different kind of map, be it the instant apps, using the web builder, using the story maps, using the dashboard, using the experience builder. Or you could also configure your map on your own without using the Esri templates to configure them. So this is how the GIS platform is helping the humanitarian activities. Also, why locational data is very, very important to the humanitarian activities, you'll be surprised that even down to, the kids who are displaced, they have idea of, where they are coming from. They have an idea of, where, GIS is, the science of where. You want to know where are you coming from, where are the displaced person coming from. Like Olumide hinted, you know the difference between a refugee and an internally displaced person. Refugees across borders, and an internally displaced person is within the border of your country. So I could remember when our organization, we went out during the humanitarian day, we went out to actually give aid to some of these internally displaced camps. We created a map for them. This map aided them. This map will be displayed in the camp to actually show other IDP camps that are there also. So on seeing the map, a young boy actually asked the question, so where is Goza? So it was a question to reflect on, because we are made to know that most of the people in the Durumi camp where we visited were actually from Goza. Goza is a town in Borno State. It was among the displaced persons as a result of a deadly attack back in 2014. We were actually resettled in Durumi camp. So this shows how astonishing that even little kids are self-conscious of where they are coming from, the location of where. So these are just one of the importance of adding spatial location in solving the humanitarian problems. So thank you for your time. I will just hand over to Precious right now to continue from that stuff.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. There's a whole lot of stuff in one presentation. Okay, so with that, I think we've come a long way, but we still have one more presentation before we take questions and answers. And we'll be inviting Dr. Mukhtar. Dr. Sadiq Abubakar Mukhtar. He has a PhD. Yes. Okay, I was just going to make a brief introduction. Okay, but it's good that we have him here. So Dr. Sadiq has a PhD in internal forced migration. So you're not just hearing another presentation, you're hearing someone who has a hands-on experience on ArcGIS tools and systems and understands the need of humanitarian crisis and how GIS is being applied. So Dr. Sadiq, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, Precious. And it's nice to be with you, to share in some of my knowledge, what I know about the IDP and World Refugees on this important event to mark the World Refugee Day. So let me share my presentation so I can at least go along with the participant as well. So are you all with me? Are you hearing me?
Yes,
are you all hearing me? Okay, so my presentation is going to be on the application of GIS for humanitarian assistance. So there's a code there that they are safe, refugees are safe, but they are not in their homes. They are cityless. I think it's just a disaster for everyone. So everyone can find himself as a refugee. So these are the people that we should at least be with them. So at least I would like to thank Sambus Geospatial for organizing this important event on this important day. So the World Refugee Day is an important opportunity to remind us about the ongoing flight of millions of refugees around the world. This is from Robert Albert Silverstein. And as the first presenter talked about, the World Refugee Day was first celebrated globally in 2001. This is to mark the 50th anniversary of the 1951 Convention on the Status of Refugee. I think we all know that. So since 2001, the 20th of June has been marked as a World Refugee Day to mark the flight and all these things refugees have been going through in their life. So as we all know, this presentation is talking about geographical information system application of GIS in refugee study. So just a brief. GIS is a computer system designed to capture, store, manipulate, analyze, display numerous types of data related to position on Earth's surface. So, as you all know,
sorry for cutting you, Dr. Sadiq.
Yeah.
Sorry for cutting. We can't see your slide.
You can't see my slide. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Let me share the slides again.
Okay.
Very sorry. Oh, can you see the slides now? Hello?
Yes, we can see your slide.
Okay. So as I'm saying, definition of GIS: design, capture, store, manipulate, analyze, and display numerous types of data relating to a position on the Earth's surface. You all know everything on the Earth's surface, it has relationship with the location. Anywhere you are, anything you do has an X and Y location. So that's why GIS is important in almost every aspect of our life. You can't do without GIS now. And at least people are appreciating what GIS can do. So by relating seamlessly all related data, GIS can help individuals. Yes.
Hello, Dr. Sadiq.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I think because you're sharing from your phone, it's not very bold. Let me share. Can I share from my end?
Okay, you can share from your end.
Okay.
Because I'm. So let me log into my computer as well.
Okay. Can you see my slide?
Yes, yes, it's good.
Okay. Okay, so you can go ahead.
Okay, slide number 3. We're on slide number 3. We're on slide number 3, please. Precious, can you hear me? Hi. Precious, can you hear me? Hello.
So you can go on. We can hear you.
Okay, we are on slide number 3, please, because so as to be going with the presentation.
Okay, so I guess it's loading. So
okay.
I'm even trying to log in on my computer because I thought it's easier on the phone, so that's why I didn't. Okay, let me. Should I just continue, or I should wait for the slides to load? Hello. Hello.
Okay, sir, you can continue. Sorry for.
Okay.
Hi, yes, I'm with you.
Okay, slide number 3, please. Okay, so let me just continue before. I said GIS can help individuals and organizations, especially since we are talking about humanitarian agencies. GIS can help individuals and organizations to understand spatial and or geographical patterns and relationships. We all know this refugee status has a pattern, refugee flow and everything. It has a pattern and a geographical status, which I will later show that on a map which we produced during one of our studies. Okay, next slide, please.
Are we on the same page?
GIS as a sophisticated tool play a vital role in assisting humanitarian aid organizations to address some of the most common challenges. We all know that there are a lot of challenges that comes with humanitarian assistance, humanitarian aid. They face a lot of challenges in trying to assist and access the camps, especially the camps and vulnerable areas. We all know what happened in Nigeria, the Boko Haram crisis. So these humanitarian agencies use the GIS techniques to access some of these areas. I think I'll explain that later on. This presentation focused on the application of GIS in refugee and post-migration studies. So every year, every second, many people are forced to leave their place of habitual residence and find themselves as refugees or IDPs. So this is caused because of natural disasters and man-made disasters, displacement, loss of lives, and a lot of things. We all know that a lot of things caused people to leave their place of habitual residential areas to find themselves in camp, some even in a condition that is not really habitable for them. So the United Nations High Commission for Refugee estimated that by the end of 2020, there are 82.4 million people who were forced to leave their place of habitual residence. This includes 26.4 million refugees, 4.1 million asylum seekers, and 48 million internally displaced persons. I think my first presenter has already defined all these terms, so there is no need to me to go ahead and further define these terms. So this is the estimate, those that were counted. This exclude those that the details are not included. You all know that JAS works with data, so and all these humanitarian agencies as well work with the data at hand. So the exact amount, the exact figure they were able to get by the end of 2020. So the current worldwide refugee crisis is referred to as the worst hit humanitarian crisis since the World War II. So just imagine. The application of GIS in humanitarian assistance can help in the following areas. So we are talking about how GIS can come in to assist in humanitarian assistance. So the first, I said data sharing. Humanitarian organizations around the world use GIS to plan missions, mobilize and implement field teams quickly, and monitor and evaluate their effectiveness in real time. So without data sharing, this cannot be achieved. So humanitarian agencies use GIS to share data. For example, let me give you an example. The International Organization for Migration have what they call digital tracking metrics. This data is being taken after every three months. Here in Nigeria, I'm talking about here in Nigeria. So this data is made readily available after the data has been cleaned and everything. So the data is made readily available every 3 months for use by individuals and organizations. Then we said planning and risk assessment. So GIS help humanitarian admissions to plan the missions. For example, if they are going for example, my second presenter showed when the Sambus visited Durumi. So with GIS data, we can plan and look at the risk assessment. Is there any risks accessing the area? For example, now going to Maiduguri, we have to get the data, access if there's a risk going to that area. Allocation of resources to camps. So with GIS data, we can I think someone.
Okay, alhamdulillah. I will do. It's me. I call Alafia.
Hello, sir. You can continue.
Hello? Dr. Sadiq, are you there?
So can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Um, your your mic is mute. Can you just unmute yourself because we can't hear you?
And can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, okay. So I'm talking about this this map that is on your screen. This map was produced using ArcGIS, and the data was gotten from IOM, International Organization for Migration. So in 2014, it's from December 2014 to June 2015. So in 2014, because of the serious crisis in Maiduguri, Borno State, there was no data for Borno State in that particular period. 2014, when the data was first collected, the first DTM data was gotten. So as you can see, this acroplat map showing the distribution of IDPs within the northeastern geopolitical region of Nigeria. So I think it's self-explanatory. You can see the distribution, the pattern, right? So this is one. So let's go to the next slide. We say GIS and humanitarian studies answer two main questions: what is where? So this obtain information from a location. What is where? What is in Borno? What is in Abuja? You understand? And where is what? So this one query or obtain information on particular location. So the next map, Precious, can you please go to the next map? Hello? Precious, can you please go to the next map, or I should just continue?
Have you seen it? I think it's booting.
Yes. Okay. Okay. It has loaded. So this is a map showing the it's a representative map. Each dot on the map, it's 1,000 or 5,000 persons. So this shows the distribution pattern of IDPs in of IDPs in northeastern Nigeria. Sorry, so you can see the distribution. I'm very sorry, I didn't include the map that shows the pattern, the movement pattern. It skipped my mind seriously, but there was a map I produced which shows the pattern of movement. For example, just like my colleague talked about Goza. So what this map did was our initial place, we took our data from Adamawa, the camps in Adamawa. All the IDPs in Adamawa, majority were interviewed. So what we did was we asked them from where are you? So when they inform us from their location, so we took the point, the location where they are dwelling. For example, some of them were in Fufore camp. So the Fufore camp was our origin, for example. And we asked them from where are you? Goza, for example, Goza. So Goza, we took the geometric centroid of Goza to be the origin of all those from Goza. And if you are from Askira Uba, we also took the geometric centroid of Askira Uba as a starting point to the camp where they are residing to. So this map shows the direction of flow, of their movement. I think I could have added this, but at least you get to understand what I'm trying to say, right? So next, humanitarian agencies use information from GIS to determine the following: where the need of affected people are greatest, what routes are safe to deliver and access to relief services, where to prioritize recovery efforts. So finally, on a conclusion, refugees are human beings like us. We should welcome and accept the refugees. And finally, the theme for this year's World Refugee Day: whoever, wherever, and whenever, everyone has the right to seek safety. Thank you very much. And I'm really glad to share in my little knowledge with the participant here today. And thank you very much to Sambus Geospatial for giving me this great opportunity to share some of
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mukhtar. And that was a very good presentation. Okay, please, anyone in the audience who wants to make a contribution, please, you can go ahead, unmute yourself, and you can also if you have a question, it could be for Dr. Mukhtar, it could be for another presenter that presented earlier. So you can just go ahead and ask your question and we'll take your answer. There's a question that was asked earlier. So someone was asking, it said, are there measures in place to help refugees or displaced persons return to their ancestral homes? Okay, let me not give the answer, but from a GIS perspective, Dr. Mukhtar, do you want to give an answer to that question?
Can you please come again?
Okay, the person said, are there measures in place to help refugees or displaced persons return to their ancestral homes?
Yes, of course. I can see, yes, there are measures put in place to allow refugees go back to their ancestors' home. That's why if you notice, the this year's theme said everyone has the right to seek safety. The reason why most of these refugees left their home without their wish, it's circumstances that made them to run away from whatever they are running away from. For example, locally or nationally, what we have in Nigeria, most of the people that left Borno State, Borno, left because of the Boko Haram insurgent activities. And most of them are willing, most of those I interacted with in Yola when I was doing my research, they told me they are willing to return back home when it's safe. So that's, you underline the phrase, when it's safe, they are ready to return back home because they are not happy staying in camps as refugees, that they want to go back home and continue their life, their normal life as normal people.
Thank you very much. There's another GIS user, someone who is just coming up to learn GIS, and the person is asking, how can they benefit from using GIS tools and systems to help their community as part of their own contribution? I think anyone can take that from the presenters. Although so much has been said on this, but maybe specifically you want to let the person know, someone who is coming up learning GIS, how can the person contribute solving refugee crisis in their community? Is Olumide in the room?
Yeah, hello. Please, can you come again with the question?
Okay, someone is asking, how can they use GIS to support community services regarding humanitarian crisis?
Yes, one of the areas to do so is if a place is faced with crisis, there might be an avenue to relocate them to another place. So with the use of GIS, you might look at areas that are free for structures to be erected or for structures to be placed in a new area. So with the use of GIS, different sites can be looked upon. Maybe suggestions can be made. Maybe 5 different locations. Probably, let's say those in Borno, let's say Goza. There's a need to relocate them due to crisis, and we are looking at Abuja, for example. Then we need to look at places where people are not much, freelance, that structures can be erected. With the use of GIS, you can cite these areas and present it to the decision makers for them to see. Probably maybe in form of a dashboard to show them these different areas, like a suggestion or a proposal. So you can see these 5 areas as I proposed and look at the advantage of putting it in a particular location against the second one, the advantages of putting in the first place or the second place or the third place, and the other 2 areas. So this we could also suggest in this analysis with the GIS, maybe there's a particular place that is closer to a water body that could help the large number of the refugees, or maybe it's close to a big market that goods can be shipped in from this market into the camps that will help them. So a lot of things can be considered to cite these places using GIS. I believe that answers the question.
Yes, it does. I think you're giving it the answer, the right answer to that
Can I
question.
add to what my colleague just said, please? As someone who is new in GIS, that's what he asked, right? So he needs to obtain information about the location and then do some risk assessment. So by doing risk assessment, you'll be able to access areas that are high risk, low risk, and medium. And so at least you can advise the government on what to do and policymakers that these areas are high risk areas. So measures should be taken. The government should take measures. For example, now if we are going to map, let's say Abuja Kaduna Road, so we can easily by getting the data, we can easily know the areas that are of high risk where usually kidnaps and other illegal activities do take place. So they can be mapped as high risk areas, as red zones on a GIS. So by giving out the maps to people by mere looking at it, know exactly this is the information you are giving them. As soon as they approach that area, they know we are at red area, high risk area. So the government need to do something. For example, as someone who can suggest to the government using GIS, this is what the government need to do, at least using the GIS technology. This is a simple thing which the GIS can produce and help policymakers in making policies and other things. Thank you very much. I hope it's clear now.
Well, I hope the person answering the question is getting the answers now. So the next person that asked the question, I think the question is a little bit not, I don't know, but let me just ask it. Person asked saying, how can I create an online database? So I think when it comes to data, data gathering and information processing. Do you want to take that? Well, anyone can take that.
All right, thank you, Precious. Let me just take that. So he wants to create an online database of, okay, maybe he wants to collect data. It's simple, you know, with what I illustrated when I was actually, you know, doing my demonstration. I used the survey 1 to 3. So he wants to have an, you know, online data of maybe data he collects. So you can use the survey 1 to 3 to actually, you know, collect those data. Those data will be synced to, you know, the ArcGIS online cloud, which, you know, where those data can be stored, and you could access them from also, you know, the ArcGIS Pro. So it all depends. And also, if you have existing data, you know, that maybe has existing data from maybe CSV or maybe shapefiles or anything, you could also, you know, import them into the ArcGIS Online. So the ArcGIS Online platform will be able to hold the kind of data that, depending on the type of data you are trying to collect or you are trying to, you know, have on your database. So an ArcGIS Online data store actually acts as where you can collect or manage your data.
Okay, and that brings me to my next question. The person says, how do I use ArcGIS Pro to solve humanitarian intelligence, situation, and human geography?
Okay, how do you use ArcGIS? So first you have to understand what, you know, ArcGIS Pro is. If you already know what ArcGIS Pro is, so definitely you need to first, you know, think about what you want to solve, the type of data you want to collect, because the type of data you give to ArcGIS Pro it will actually give you the type of analysis you want to get. Understand? So you have to structure the type of data you want to collect, the type of data you know want to use for any analysis, then the type of analysis you want to make. So there are various type of tools you want to. There are various type of tools available on ArcGIS Pro, where you have the hotspot map, you know, the hotspot tool, the, you know, different kind of analysis that you want to, you know, do. Right there on the geoprocessing toolbox, you have a lot of, you know, analysis tool for you to actually make any type of analysis that you want. So first, you just need to understand what type of analysis you want to do to, you know, get to your results.
All right, thank you so much. This final question, I think similar to also the last question, it's talking about how to apply ArcGIS to physical and environmental analysis.
Sorry, can you come again? Physical and what?
Okay, physical and environmental analysis, how to apply ArcGIS to physical and environmental analysis.
Okay, it's really simple. Like I said, you know, you have to understand the type of data you are collecting. So if you want to do an analysis of, you know, an hotspot map, maybe for example, you have data of where these refugees are. You want to also overlay data of crime that have been happening from the ACLAD data. You want to know the IDPs who are at risk. So all you have to do is, you know, you have your point location of the facilities of, you know, the IDP camps, and you also want to, you know, throw in data of, you know, crime data around and, you know, create an hotspot of it. then you create a buffer of some of the create a buffer of the IDP camps to see how close they are to all these crime events that are happening, so and so on and so forth. You want to also know how protected they are from insurgents. Like, for example, you want to know the military base stations and police stations that are closest to the IDP camps to actually respond in case there are attacks and all that stuff. So it all depends on what type of analysis you want to do. Also, we have the analysis of having a new site for these IDP camps. You want to, first of all, you want to know the variables that are needed to actually site this new site. You want to know how close they are to some certain facilities like hospitals. You want to know how close they are to water, potable water. You want to know how free the land is. You also need the land use and land cover map also of that particular area. Depending on what type of analysis you want to site a new location for this IDP camps. You also want to know how close they are to some certain facilities and other stuff. So it depends on the type of analysis. You can bring data from a different source. That is one thing about the ArcGIS platform. Allows you to add data from different sources, be it CSV, shapefiles, and the database or whatever format they are. If you can convert them and validate them on the map, you can actually make different type of analysis. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you very much. Okay, do we have anyone who wants to make a contribution or you want to ask a question? All right, so we have come to the end of this program. Thank you all so much for participating and sharing your knowledge with us. We have our social media accounts displayed already for follow-up questions and collaborations and connections. You can follow us, connect with us on any of these social media pages, and we can have a conversation with you. Once again, thank you so much, and we can't wait to see you go ahead and solve problems and use your knowledge you've gotten today to apply your GIS skills in solving humanitarian crisis. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of the day.